Security. We have a vagrant attempting to enter the premises. Sir, you need to leave immediately. This is a private military ceremony, not a homeless shelter. The words sliced through the air. Thomas Harrington stood motionless near the side entrance of the Naval Academy's Hoy Field House, his rough, weathered hands gripping a torn invitation. Families in tailored suits and elegant dresses flowed past him toward the main entrance. Where red carpets and flags welcomed them, that entrance was not meant for him. Thomas looked exactly like what he was, a man who had slept beneath bridges for 3 years, whose last bath had been in a public fountain 2 days earlier, a man who carried the unmistakable smell of the streets. Commander Richard Blackwell stepped closer, his spotless uniform sharply contrasting Thomas's stained jacket. 3 security guards lined up behind him, forming an unbreakable barrier. Blackwell's face twisted with disgust. "I don't care what story you're selling," he said coldly. "Every bum in this city claims to be a veteran. You're not on the guest list. You're not family. And frankly, you're an embarrassment." Inside the gymnasium, a military band began to play. Thomas's son was in there about to graduate, about to become a second lieutenant. And Thomas, a 52-year-old homeless veteran, was moments away from being escorted off federal property before he could witness it. 3 days earlier, Thomas had been sitting beneath the Coronado Bridge in San Diego. The concrete beneath him was cold. The ocean wind carried the scent of salt, and helicopters thundered overhead from the nearby naval base. It was Thursday morning, May 24th, his 52nd birthday. No one knew. No one cared. He had woken at dawn, his back aching from sleeping on cardboard, his stomach empty. In his hands was a wrinkled piece of paper, edges torn and stained with coffee spilled from a trash can lid he'd used as a table. Despite the damage, the words were still clear. "You are cordially invited to the graduation ceremony of Cadet Michael James Harrington, Naval Academy, Annapolis, Maryland. Friday, May 27th, 1200 hours." His son, his boy, 23 years old, now almost a stranger. Thomas hadn't received the invitation in the mail. He didn't have an address. He'd found it 2 weeks earlier on Michael's public Instagram. Page a photo of the invitation with the caption, "Can't wait for this day. Wish Dad could be here." Those 5 words shattered something inside him. Wish Dad could be here. Michael didn't know where he was. Didn't know if Thomas was alive or dead. They hadn't spoken in 6 years. Not since Thomas had walked away, convinced he was too broken, too dangerous, too damaged to stay. He traced his finger over his son's name. Second lieutenant. His boy was becoming an officer, following in his father's footsteps despite everything. "Tom, are you okay?" He looked up to see Maria, the waitress from Joey's Grill 3 blocks away. She sometimes brought him coffee black, no sugar. She never asked questions. "I'm fine," Thomas said softly. "Thank you." She knelt beside him, concern in her eyes. "You've been staring at that paper for an hour." "My son's graduating," Thomas said. "Naval Academy. Friday," Maria smiled. "That's wonderful. Are you going?" He shook his head. "It's 3,000 miles away. I don't have the money. And even if I did," he gestured to himself, "I can't show up like this. He'd be ashamed." "Would he?" Maria asked gently. "Or would he just be happy to see his father?" Thomas had no answer. That night, beneath the bridge, with traffic roaring overhead, he made a decision. He would go not to speak to Michael, not to interrupt anything. Just to watch. Just to see his son walk across the stage. Just to know that Michael was okay. He had $173 saved over 8 months. Money meant for winter, for survival. He spent it anyway. The next morning, he bought a one-way bus ticket to Annapolis. 68 hours of travel. 3 days. He boarded with everything he owned in a faded green backpack, an old photo of Michael, purple heart wrapped carefully in cloth, an unsent letter, and the torn invitation. For 3 days, Thomas watched America pass by through a dirty window. He didn't sleep. He didn't eat. People avoided him. He understood why. What he didn't know was that, at that very moment, his son was standing in a dorm room at the Naval Academy, holding the same photograph, one of them smiling together 8 years earlier. Michael looked at it every day, wondering where his father was, hoping he was still alive. When the bus finally reached Annapolis, Thomas walked the final miles on foot. At the academy gates, his damaged invitation was rejected. He was turned away. Desperate, he tried a side entrance, and that was when Commander Richard Blackwell spotted him on the security cameras. "This is a private military ceremony," Blackwell snapped as he arrived. "Not a homeless shelter." Thomas spoke calmly. "My son is graduating today. Michael Harrington." "I just want to see him." Blackwell crossed his arms. "Every bum says that. You're not family. You don't belong here." People began to watch. "I am family," Thomas said quietly. "I'm his father." Blackwell laughed harshly. "Look at you. What son would want you here on the most important day of his life?" Thomas said nothing. "Escort him off federal property," Blackwell ordered. And just like that, a father who had crossed an entire country to see his son was about to be erased once again. "Use force if you have to." The three guards stepped forward. Thomas didn't struggle. He was used to this being pushed out, erased, sent away. It didn't matter. He had tried. That alone felt like enough. He told himself he'd return to the streets, find a window somewhere, maybe catch a distant echo of the ceremony. That would be enough. Then Blackwell spoke again, his tone sharp with ridicule. "If you're really military, tell me your rank. Go on, I'm waiting. And don't bother with some fantasy. You were probably dishonorably discharged, weren't you?" "That's what I thought." Pathetic. Something inside. Thomas snapped not into rage, but into honesty. He stopped walking and turned back. When he spoke, his voice was low, steady, unmistakably authoritative, the voice of a man who had once commanded lives. Major General 2-star, retired. The small crowd fell silent. Blackwell stared for a moment, then laughed loudly. "Major General? That's priceless." "Gentlemen, we've got royalty," he sneered. "These imposters are exactly what's wrong today. They steal valor. They lie." He pulled out his phone. "Prove it. Show me ID, or admit you're a fraud." Thomas's hands trembled as he slowly rolled up his sleeve. On his forearm, faded but unmistakable, was a tattoo coordinates: 33.315 to north, 44.3661 east. Beneath it, the letters say, "In the year 2007. Blackwell's smile faltered. Thomas reached into his pocket and removed a worn silver ring. He opened his palm. The engraving was small but clear. SEAL Team 6, the trident etched into the metal. He placed it gently on the ground. Then he unzipped his backpack, pulled out a cloth bundle, and carefully unwrapped it. A purple heart medal caught the sunlight. He set it beside the ring. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Thomas said hoarsely. "My son is graduating today. Michael Harrington, 2nd Lieutenant. I don't need to go inside. I just wanted to see him through a window if I had to. I haven't seen him in 6 years, please." A tear slipped down his cheek. He didn't wipe it away. Less than 50 feet away, someone else had stopped. A woman in a navy blue dress stood frozen, her hand gripping her daughter's arm. "Sarah Harrington, Thomas's ex-wife, that's your father," she whispered, before another word could be spoken. A commanding voice cut through the silence. *Tom, Thomas Harrington. Iceberg 6. Everyone turned. An admiral approached, his face pale, eyes wide. Admiral James Cortland, Superintendent of the Naval Academy. "This man is Major General Thomas Harrington," Cortland said firmly. "Call sign, Iceberg 6. He led Operation Silent Echo Baghdad 2007, 23 hostages rescued. 0 casualties. I was there. He saved my life." Blackwell's phone slipped from his hand and shattered on the concrete. He tried to speak, but couldn't. His knees buckled. One guard immediately snapped to attention and saluted. Behind them, Sarah dropped her purse. Tears streamed down her face as she began walking toward Thomas. At that moment, a door opened. A young man in a white dress uniform stepped outside. Tall, clean-cut, with familiar gray-blue eyes. Michael Harrington. He took in the scene, his mother crying, the admiral, the guards, The homeless man at the center? His mind struggled to catch up. Asterisk, then recognition hit. Dad. The word was barely a whisper, but everyone heard it. Thomas turned. Michael ran. They collided, arms locking tight, as if letting go might make the moment vanish. I missed you, Michael cried. Please don't leave again. Thomas held him, shaking, sobbing openly for the first time in 6 years. I'm sorry, he whispered. I thought I was protecting you. You're my father, Michael said. I never stopped needing you. Sarah reached them, Emma at her side. Tom, Sarah said softly, not now. Right now, you need to see your son graduate. Admiral Cortlandt stepped forward. General Harrington, it would be my honor to escort you inside. I don't belong there, Thomas said weakly. You do, Michael said firmly. You earned it. Inside the field house, the ceremony began. When Michael's name was called, Thomas watched his son cross the stage, heart pounding. Then the announcer spoke again. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are honored to have Major General Thomas Harrington Iceberg 6 in attendance. Thomas rose slowly as the entire hall stood. Cadets saluted. Applause thundered. After the ceremony, Michael placed his officer's cap on Thomas's head. This is because of you, he said. Later, overlooking the harbor, father and son stood side by side. What now? Thomas asked. Now you heal, Michael replied, and I'll be here. Nomus had lost everything before remembering what mattered most. Redemption hadn't come from medals or ranks, but from love, forgiveness, and the courage to be seen. And for the first time in years, standing in the light instead of the shadows. Thomas Harrington believed he might finally be okay,